My name is Mary, of course. This is not my real name. I'm a pro basketball player in the US. And this is the story of how I broke my heart with my hands and shattered the beautiful thing I had with the love of my life. While this may be one of those stories you may have heard many times, please pay attention to details. Because one slip, one crack in the wall, one smile, one indulgence is all it takes to bring you down to this pit. And believe me, it is dark and lonely here. I met the love of my life, Raymond, at a party. We just won a big game, and the team threw a party to celebrate. We had trained like hell for that game. So when the victory came, it was only expected that we would celebrate. My teammates were practically on cloud nine that night, dancing and drinking some more. Because I don't like the feeling of getting drunk and I knew I still had to drive my friends home, I stayed off the bottle. Raymond came with one of my teammates' boyfriend. He noticed me, I guess, sitting alone with a cup of whatever I was drinking and walked up to me. I had just come out of a traumatizing relationship and was not ready for anything serious. But Raymond, there was something different about him. His first words, his smile, the way he laughed, the way he made me laugh. Everything about Raymond was perfect. We hit it off almost immediately, talked through the night, knew almost everything about each other. And before we knew what was happening, we were hinged. It was love at first sight. I cry when I think about what we had. The tears flow more when I remember I brought this unhappiness on myself. Ray and I got married after 6 months of dating. Everything happened so fast, but we would not have it any differently. There was nothing to wait for anymore. He had his career well on and I was thriving in mine also. And of course, there was the love factor. I could not imagine spending the rest of my life with anybody else. Maybe that's why I'm still wallowing in this pain, even though it's been 2 years now. Our wedding was a fairy tale, the dream of every ballerina princess like me, small but beautiful. I can still remember the smile on Ray's face, the love in his eyes, and the joy in his heart as we danced. We had our honeymoon in Zanzibar, one of the most magical cities in Africa. We created so many memories, falling in love every day. My fondest memory was the last day of our honeymoon. Ray had the day planned out. We first went skinny dipping. Then we went to one of the most exquisite restaurants for lunch and ended the day in a karaoke bar where we sang, danced, and laughed from our hearts. To cap the night, we made intense love. Ray touched me like a master pianist touches the piano, strummed the strings of my guitar, made love to me like I would want no more. Forgive my illusions, but that night was the wildest experience I had had in my life. Well, until I met Dr. Tobias. We were so in love, Ray and I. Who would have thought that something so natural, so beautiful, would end in such a disastrous way? Because we were at the pinnacle of our careers, Ray and I decided not to have children. We wanted to enjoy each other as much as we could, build our careers, and be responsible only to each other, at least for the time being. And oh, did we enjoy those years! From surprise dinners, gifts, and road trips, to our first trip to Europe, sunset in Paris, and making love in one of the most local hotels in Rome. We did it all. Through and through, Raymond and I fell in love with each other every second of the day, and were each other's biggest cheerleader and friend. It was beautiful, friends. But do they not say, not all that glitters is gold? Well, in my case, I turned this gold to charcoal with my own hands, and sent this celestial empire filled with love and peace crumbling down. I did all this without thinking. In this romance-filled world I was having, an icicle was about to burst a big hole in our ship. I got injured. This injury happened at one of our friendlies with a neighboring team. What we called a friendly match was turned into something else. It was like this team had been sent to destroy our key ballers prior to the big games. And did they succeed? Of course they did. I and 2 other ballers were taken off the court on stretchers. Although we won the game in the end, this crazy team had succeeded at their mission. I thought the injury was not a serious one until my X-ray came. Apparently, I had dislocated a major bone in my left leg. I have forgotten what the doctor called the bone now, but I would need 6 weeks of bed rest and intense physical therapy to be able to play again. I was devastated. But Ray was there. No matter how devastated I was, I had his support and love. That was enough for me. The doctor recommended one of the best physiotherapists in the city, Dr. Toby, to us. According to my doctor, Dr. Toby had very unorthodox methods, but they have proven very successful over the years. The way my doctor spoke about Dr. Toby, I could not wait to meet him to begin work on my leg. I was eager, you see, not knowing that Dr. Tobias Jameson was going to be the end of me. The day I met Dr. Toby, I knew something was off about him. Not off per se, but different. I have had sessions with different physiotherapists, but Toby was different. This 6'6", heavily built, well-bearded hunk of a man was tough and soft, calm and harsh. He was beautiful, gentle, and sweet. Dr. Toby had this way of making you do things you never thought you could do in your condition. We had our first session in the garage. Ray had set up the place up with equipment for my physio sessions. We did not do much training that day. Instead, he massaged the leg with the ointment he brought. It was like I could hear the sound of music in my ears. His hands were so soft, touching me gently, caressing my legs, making me flinch and shake. I knew things were going to go south with Dr. Toby, but I would not send him away. My career was on the line. I would check myself instead. That day was the first of many massages. For the first week of our training together, we got to know each other while he worked his magic on my leg. For some days he would tie ice packs on the leg and we'd talk about any and everything. I did most of the talking though, while he listened. Toby was a mysterious man. This made him even more desirable. Not at that instant though. I never saw Dr. Toby as anything more than my physiotherapists, not until Ray's fits of rage and disapprovals. Sometimes it is your partner's fears that fills your head with thoughts that were not there or were recessive before. Ray would stand by the garage door and listen to me laugh, talk, and laugh some more. He would listen to the soothing baritone that was Dr. Toby's voice, and it would irk him beyond words. I caught him eavesdropping once but acted like he wasn't there. After holding it in for too long, Ray voiced out. He even suggested we get another physiotherapist. I never knew Ray to be the jealous one. But, for peace sake, I obliged. We got a lady, Dr. Cindy. Cindy only came once. She was good, no doubt, but she was not my Dr. Toby. She did not know how to make me feel at ease. She did not talk to me. It was just business as usual. I did not like that. So, I disengaged her after the first day and called Dr. Toby back. Honestly, looking back, I should have stayed with Dr. Cindy. I could have just shut my heart up and stayed put with the new doctor. But Toby had eaten deep into my flesh, and it was nearly impossible to get him out. Not impossible, you see. I did not want to get him out. Ray did not understand why I called Dr. Toby back. He thought we had an accord and that Dr. Cindy was good enough. She was, but she was not. Dr. Toby, we had a huge fight that night and would go on to not talk to each other for more than 2 weeks. I did not know what I was doing anymore. At that point, Ray did not understand either. After 2 weeks of serious tension in the house, with Dr. Toby still coming over and making me laugh while wrapping his hands softly around my waist, Raymond came around. He apologized for making a fuss out of nothing and supported my choice. I knew he should not have. I knew he should have kept pushing Dr. Toby away. At that point, we had gone past laughter now. We were in the touching phase, and soon enough, something else would follow. I knew this strongly, but did not say anything. For reasons I don't understand, I kept mute. But I was happy Ray had come around again. The night he apologized, we made sweet love, but all through the session, my imaginations ran wild. Toby had bored a hole in my flesh, and even while Ray was thrusting with the force of a gladiator, I imagined the strong arms of Toby wrapped around me, his beads of sweat dripping down, and his strokes hard and sweet. I can remember I called his name under my breath, but Ray was too focused on his thrusts to have heard. The day Dr. Toby finally had me was not an ordinary Friday. Ray had traveled to see his parents, and I was home alone. We were edging closer to the end of our sessions, and I was already attempting to run. Toby had planned a trip to the court for a little warm-up session before the massage and our regular exercise, but it had begun to run immediately he came in. With the garage cold and the weather damp, Toby and I were forced to stay in the living room. He canceled training, and we decided to see a movie instead. I think, looking back, he knew what he wanted to do and wanted to take his chance on me. I played after we fell, and we watched the movie on the same couch with my legs on his lap. All the while, my mind was away. Far away, you see, on the sea of what-ifs. What if Ray comes home? He was a sucker for surprises, after all. What if I become obsessed with this man? My mind was not in the movie. My mind was everywhere. Toby was massaging my feet now. He was doing it ever so gently. I did not know when I let out a moan. That was his cue, I think. He leaned over for a kiss and got more than a kiss. We were on the couch taking each other in, touching, kissing, caressing, until finally, Dr. Toby took off the t-shirt and sweatpants I wore, still on the couch, in the living room, with the sound of the tele. Dr. Toby made love to me in a way I know I will never forget. His strong arms, trained waist, everything, was prepared for this moment. Toby owned me that day on the couch in the living room, and that was the first of many. Toby and I continued taking advantage of my training session to have fun when Ray was not around. Sometimes we would make out with Ray in the living room. He was not comfortable with the whole arrangement but knew I would make a fuss about it if he spoke out again. I did really terrible things with Toby in that garage, things I'm not proud of, things I would not have done again if I could turn back the hands of time. But at that moment, I was on top of the world, hoisted by the hard and soft thrusts of my physiotherapist. This went on for a while until karma thought to put an end to it. Ray was out of town at an annual conference. I can't remember the name of the conference now, but I know he was supposed to be out of town. Toby and I had planned to spend the week together in my place. It was not the first time. I remember feeling a bit uneasy about that weekend's arrangement. Something was wrong, but I could not place my hand on it. Well, all the worry lines faded away the moment that hunk of a man came around. Just his smile and I was quivering inside. We got intimate almost immediately, from the living room to the stairs till we got to the bedroom. The bedroom Ray and I sleep in. We had never done it here. It had always been in the visitor's room or in the garage. But there I was, with my doctor-turned-lover in my matrimonial room, on my matrimonial bed. There was something different about today's strokes. Maybe because of the risk we were taking. For whatever reason, I could feel Toby's turgidity in my stomach. It was touching the right and wrong places. I was beside myself with pleasure. So much that I did not hear Ray's car pull up. I did not hear him come up the stairs. I only saw him standing at the doorsteps of the room. It happened so fast. Ray pounced on Toby. They began to struggle on the floor of the room with Ray screaming obscenities at the top of his lungs. Before I knew what was happening, they were already outside the room, punching and slapping each other. And before I could call for help, Toby pushed Ray down the flight of stairs to his doom, cries, and laughs. Well, Toby lost his license to practice and was sentenced for attempted murder. He's still in jail as we speak. Ray lost his ability to work due to the intensity of the fall. I lost my career and all the endorsements I had. You now see the aftermath of betrayal. We all shared in the sad reality, even the innocent Ray. I hear he is learning to live with his new reality. I have not had the courage to learn how to live again, and I don't think I ever will.